now in Moscow, it's much more secure than in most of European cities.
He came to Dubai with a 2-year plan, but he stayed 18.
I decided that I would spend 2 years to make my fortune here, and I go back to Russia. So it's 18 years now.
He's our first Russian guest, a serial entrepreneur with over 14,000 contacts in his phone.
If I'm not mistaken, I have more than 14,000 contacts on my phone.
18 years ago in Dubai, what was that like, and what brought you from Russia back then?
My father, he used to be Consul General of Russia in Dubai from 2007 till 2012.
What are your core skills as an entrepreneur then?
I would say corporate service provider. If you come to us with a business idea, we can build it from A to B.
Tell me about the 500 Club.
The Club 500 is actually a club of entrepreneurs. Some people, they came for network. Some people, they came for parties. Some people, they came for education.
Have you always been a good networker?
Thanks to my father, I have a very diplomatic skills. I think it's one of my very strong skills.
What's your strategy? How do you grow a network?
The network is to keep people remembering about you, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense at all.
What are some interesting projects you're working on at the moment?
I want to build something like Balenciaga for Padel.
Dmitry Krasnogor joins me to talk about making millions in Dubai, the secret to a powerful network, and why the city is a growth zone like no other.
Guys, Matt Haycox here, and welcome to another episode of No Bollocks with me, Matt Haycox. I've got with me today, I think you're our first Russian guest. I don't think I've had a Russian on before. Dmitry Krasnogor.
Yeah,
I've said it good.
I've said it good.
Correct. Listen, Dmitry, thanks a lot for being with us. Guys, Dmitry is a serial entrepreneur. He's been in Dubai nearly 18 years.
In September, it's going to be exactly 18 years.
So I would love to know what life in Dubai was like 18 years ago. He owns multiple businesses. He has a networking club here in Dubai as well, and he's also a fantastically networked guy. So I always love talking networking with my fellow networkers. He also can't put his telephone down, so I'm going to have to keep him very interested in this conversation, or we're going to lose him to finishing off some voice notes. But Dmitry, thanks a lot for being here, buddy.
No, thank you so much for inviting, and it's a pleasure to be here, and I will be more than happy to share all my experience and whatever happened in Dubai.
18 years ago in Dubai, I mean, what was that like, and what brought you from Russia back then?
The story is very easy. My father, he used to be Consul General of Russia in Dubai from 2007 till 2012. So like most of people that I know in Dubai, graduated from university, and I decided that I would spend 2 years to make my fortune here, and I go back to Russia. So my 2 years are a little bit longer now, so it's 18 years now. I'm happy to be. Those days, life, it was different. Dubai was very slow. There was no downtown. Burj Khalifa was only building. GBR just completed. Marina was almost empty. Palm was under construction. And in general, it was, I would say, much more reserved life than now. Now Dubai is much more open than before.
I mean, when you say, you came to make your fortune for 2 years and then go back to Russia, was it still that kind of a place back then? Because, I mean, I lived in Vegas for 5 years back in 2008 to 2013. Obviously, I had 4 or 5 years in Dubai now. And both Vegas and here, I see as places where there is massive opportunity, very, I don't want to use the word easy wealth, but let's say very, very liquid wealth for people who go and earn it in the right ways. I can't imagine that as much 18 years ago here. I guess it would have been a lot smaller. Was it still that kind of a place?
I think those days it was even easier because even now, I have some people who are coming for consultancy. Now it's less, of course, but like 5-10 years ago when life changed in terms of business, a lot of people, they still didn't understand what about online marketing, digital marketing thing. They still believe, like I had a client, for example, he was doing some business here, let's not mention, so he doesn't know that I'm talking about him. His kiosk was removed from the promenade, so I had to work with MR to get him back. And he was the only one that we got back after the crisis. And he wasn't making any money at all. And I was trying to explain to him, like, listen, kiosk is not the thing right now. People are already Googling everything. They are going on Instagram. They're going Facebook, wherever. You have to use that kind of stuff. And it was very hard to convince him. And even now, I see I'm mainly related to Russian business. So I see Russian entrepreneurs, and they're coming to Dubai, and they're entering a very competitive niche. and they're still winning the niche because the instruments that they're using, they're much more advanced than a lot of people are still using now.
What is a stereotypical Russian entrepreneur? Because I guess I've never been to Russia, and I guess as a English guy or as a European, we always imagine that the guys who've made big money in Russia have stolen it from somebody, or they've got some kind of political connections, and definitely guns have been involved. I mean, what is let's say the stereotypical non-oligarch Russian entrepreneur?
If you look into Dubai right now, based on what's happening, there are a huge number of restaurators that move to Dubai.
Of what?
Restaurators.
Restoring things?
No, restaurants.
Oh, restaurateurs.
Restaurateurs.
Yep.
Restaurateurs. Sorry, English is not my first
Don't
language.
You're doing better than me.
So
like Novikov, my favorite restaurateur.
Novikov, Sakhalin now, Magadan, Krasota, Osh, Berezka, and thousands of them. Like basically, I know minimum, I think Nahate now, Bulldozer Group. I think minimum 10 to 15 guys moved here with these projects. Also a lot of e-commerce stuff for delivery and stuff and things like that. One of the guys, he had a very interesting project. He was the first one, to be honest, that brought the dark stores to Dubai. But unfortunately, the big guys like Noon, Karim, InstaShop, etc., they saw that opportunity, and for him it was a little bit hard to compete with their monies. So he changed the niche a little bit. Of course, IT. IT is a major part of Russian entrepreneurship. Like for the big businesses, what you said, non-oligarch, we're not even talking. Technical stuff, yes. Doctors, by the way, also a lot of dental clinics, a lot of doctors move to Dubai as well. So I would say that's one of the most things that...
And what's the climate like back in Russia for doing business? I mean, again, it's probably our ridiculously unfair generalizations from what we imagine on the TV. But I guess we imagine do business in Russia, and somebody else likes your business, they just come and take it off you. Whether that's the government or the mafia or the somebody strong.
You are not alone, because back in 2013, I had one venture with one government entity in Dubai. And I was organizing a trip for them. So a very, very, very high position member of the department, he was traveling with me to Russia, and it was like 13, so it's like 11 years ago. And I was shocked when he asked me pretty the same question. Is it secure to walk on the Russian streets in Moscow? And to be honest, with full respect, I know that now in Moscow, it's much more secure than in most of European cities, to be honest.
Probably than London, for sure.
I don't want to talk about London because a lot of friends are living there and they're complaining a lot. I know that police has a huge restrictions in London, so it's very hard for them to control that kind of things. I don't know why, but democracy, what to say.
No, there's a lot to be said for a dictatorship.
True.
As long as it's the right dictator at the head of the table.
Let me hit you with a mad stat. You are probably not subscribed. Seriously, 58% of the people who listen to this podcast every single week do not hit that subscribe button. That is more than half of you. So let's fix this right now. The goal here is super simple. We grow the podcast, we bring in bigger guests, and we give you even more no bullshit, actionable insights to level up your business and to level up your life. Now in business, you set smart goals. That's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Well, here's one for you. Let's get that 58% down to well below 50% in the next 3 months. So please do me a quick favor. If this podcast has ever given you one good idea, one piece of advice that's helped you or helped your business, then hit that subscribe button. It takes a second, it costs nothing, and it means that I can keep bringing you even bigger and better guests, giving you even bigger and better insights. Go on, do it now. I'll wait. Done? Perfect. Great choice. Let's grow this together.
So coming back to Dubai, what are your core skills as an entrepreneur then? I mean, you've talked a lot about digital marketing. Is marketing your?
It's actually it's part of my. It's not really what my wife is doing. She has a company called Innovate Identity. They are into personal branding, so they do a lot of online activity, collaborations, and all this stuff. We have a very small department related to marketing. We usually outsource it because it's very hard to make money there. And it's a very competitive niche as well. So our core skill is, I would say, corporate service provider, because we have a lot of connections in the local authorities, and it helps us to deliver the services in a very efficient and fast way that not everyone can do in Dubai.
And by corporate services, you mean company formations and that kind of thing?
Company formation, banking, residency, I don't know, marketing researches, financial advisory, business modeling. So if you come to us with a business idea, we can build it from A to B.
I don't know if you've ever come across a guy called Jigar Segar. Jigar Segar. He's been on the podcast actually a couple of times, and he is, I want to say, he is the Maidan free zone that he works with.
Yeah.
And I had an interesting conversation with him actually, which changed the way I looked at corporate services over here, because coming from England, I don't know what things are like in Russia, but in England, setting up companies, very, very simple, very quick, very cheap. I mean, like we can create a company online for literally $10 in less than 24 hours. Filing the registrations, very simple, very cheap. Doing it here in Dubai, very expensive. In relative terms, I pay $10 in England. I might pay
$10,000,
$8,000 or something here. And also some things, while some parts of Dubai are so incredibly efficient, other parts are so incredibly archaic, and dealing with a PRO is like that process. And I was kind of moaning about this a bit to Jigar, because it's his core business. But then he said to me, "Hang on a minute, you're complaining about it taking a week to set up a company and it costing $8,000, not $10 for example." He goes, "But you're not looking at it right. When you start a company over here, you don't just get a company. You've got visas, residencies, permission to come and live and stay in this unbelievable place. All of that done, for less than $10,000 in less than a week. What if you wanted to try and become a resident of the UK, a resident of Europe? What would that cost? How long would it take?" And when he said it to me like that, I did actually see the whole concept in a different light. But that said, I still hate dealing with PROs. They're a fucking nightmare.
We have our own PRO that we're using, and he's more or less effective, efficient. Sometimes no, but most of the time yes, he's. But believe me, when we're talking about Dubai, we're living in a very happy place. Talking about other places, much more complicated.
I mean, having been here for 18 years, have you seen much change in let's say, in cultural differences and ways that business is done here? Has it become even more westernized over that time?
100%. Starting from the lifestyle, even the Ramadan thing, for example. Yeah. I think if you're living here 4 or 5 years, maybe you've seen that. Before COVID, Ramadan time, there are places where you can have food, but it should be closed. Muslims cannot go there. You cannot smoke on the street. You cannot drink on the street. You cannot have food on the street. Whoever you are, lady, man, child, doesn't matter. And it was you can get a fine. I had a very funny story. Long time ago, it was back in 2008 or 7. I came on my car for the petrol station, and I was smoking those days. And I moved like 5 meters away from petrol station to have my cigarette. And then all of a sudden, one Pakistani guy is running from the bus. He jumps out from the bus and starts running to me and shouting and screaming like, ah. I'm telling him, like, listen, I'm far away from the petrol station. What's wrong with you? He's shouting at me. I said, listen, petrol station is 5 meters away from me. I'm smoking here. And they're like, Ramadan. And because I was shocked, usually these people, they're very polite. They're very much afraid. But because of religious stuff, he was behaving like that. So obviously that kind of stuff, including the Ramadan thing, including the nightlife that's been also now much easier than before, it's all changed the whole atmosphere. It became more Europeanized. In the meantime, what I like about UAE, that is really a combination of East and West. So in the meantime, you have kind of a relaxed atmosphere of East, when people are a little bit, slow and easy going and, very friendly. But in the meantime, most of the processes, they're still very much Western. It's pretty much straightforward. It's very hard, to play around these processes. It's changed definitely a lot. And again, those days, it was very slow life. Everything was happening much slower. In general, life became more expensive. For company and business running, I don't think it became more expensive. I was hoping, by the way, when they introduced the VAT and corporate tax, that the cost of the companies will be reduced, because now they're getting their taxes. I'm not sure if it happens now.
What do you think about property prices?
I think if we look into the world market right now, what you can buy for the same money in London or even in Moscow, or because now a lot of brokers, they're using comparison of what you can buy in Moscow and look what you can buy in Dubai. You can really understand that the market price of the property is far away from the reality. There's still a lot of gap how they can grow the prices. The only thing that Dubai needs to work is obviously to continue doing marketing of themselves, to continue creating this kind of events like Expo, etc., that keeps attracting more and more people, and I think they're doing an amazing job about that. And of course, the main idea is for them to grow the population. To be honest, I think sooner or later, because now they have already have gold visa, 10 years visa, I think that sooner or later, they might doing something similar like what they did in Israel. They might issue a passport for the foreigners that can be cancelled, or they can not renew it for another year, something like that. So it's like obligatory, you have to have another citizenship or something like that. I believe they will come to that point. Probably, of course, it's not going to be as powerful as UAE passport, but maybe it will give, 60, 80 countries no visa or something that could be super attractive for people.
Most business advice, it's motivational fluff. It's empty promises and it's untested ideas by people who have never even tried to apply them. It's bollocks, but you're not going to get that here. And that is why I call it No Bollocks. The No Bollocks newsletter is straight talking, high impact, zero time wasting, tried, tested, and immediately actionable. 2 emails a week, insider strategies, brutally honest insights, and the answers to the questions that you're asking, or you should be asking. And the best part, you're going to learn more in 10 minutes than most people learn in a 3-year MBA. Over 20,000 people a week are already in. So don't be the one that's missing out. Hit the link in the show notes, because you just need one email that could be the one that changes everything.
Tell me about the 500 Club.
The Club 500 is actually a club of entrepreneurs. There are certain requirements. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think the turnover should be more than $2 million a year. The net profit should be more than 30 or 50,000 a month. And of course, you need to have recommendation, etc. To tell you exactly what is it about, it's really hard. I think it's about the network as well. When I spoke to different club members, they have different opinions. Some people, they came for network. Some people, they came for parties. Some people, they came for education. Some people, they came for partnership. So for me, it's very active club. It's pretty much young in terms of average age of the participants. And there are some huge players, like multi-millionaires members that's part of the club. There are normal guys, middle-class guys. The good thing is it's really very supportive atmosphere, and you really feel a huge support, consultancy. Right now, a lot of people, you can address a lot of issues. You can find out a lot of things. You can source out a lot of stuff right now. It's amazing. And even now, when the whole political stuff happened, courier companies are not going to Russia. So it's also very helpful. You have 100 people in Dubai. We have about 100 people now. You can ask someone if someone is flying to Moscow, etc. And it's
Is networking the main part of? And I assume you've been involved in other clubs as well, whether that's setting them up or just being members. But is networking the main part of it, or do members, let's say, support each other with mentorship and knowledge and masterminding as well?
There are a lot of different activities. One of the major activities is called, I don't know how to say it properly in English, but when the whole club is gathering in one place, it's 3 days event usually. One day it's like networking and people chatting, etc. One day they would definitely have educational day where you have high-end individuals or coaches, etc., that do coaching sessions. There is also a format called Forum, where you have about 7 to 8 people that is meeting on a weekly or once in 2 weeks or once in a month, and they do discussion. We even have a special forms that you're filling in, like with your results or what you have to share, what is your questions, and then you can 8 of you can discuss it, how to make it move forward, and what is the main idea about it. So there are a huge number of different formats that people can use for education, for mentorship, for growth, for networking, etc.
I mean, for me, one of the great things about Dubai is that mentality and mindset, towards growth, towards doing better. And I think because there's so much money here, because there's so much skill sets, and whether it's entrepreneurs or just talented people in each area, I think for me it's a great leveler, that it removes so much ego out of things, whereas, I mean, I don't know what it's like for you back in Russia, but in the UK, maybe not as bad in London, but certainly outside of London, when you get into your other cities where it's, let's say, your middle class people or your slightly successful people, I always think that area, that zone of, let's say, making a few £100,000, being worth £1 million, $1 million, it's like the most dangerous zone to be in these smaller towns, where you're quite a big fish in a very small pond, and the people just develop such arrogance and such ego, which then keeps them stuck at that level forever, because they think that they know everything, that they don't want to ask any questions, whether it's out of embarrassment or ego or whatever. I don't know. But then you come to a place like this, it doesn't matter what you've got. Everybody else has got more than you. So to try and flex, to try and have ego is a stupid thing to do here. Whereas to absorb, to collaborate is the best opportunity, and it's just such a great growth zone.
Very true. And in general, what I noticed about Dubai, and a lot of people are also telling me that for example, especially when we're talking about high-end, like big businesses, you need to meet, Matt in London, another guy in Switzerland, another guy in France, and third guy. So you have to take 5 tickets, go there, spend time there, spend night there, etc., request a meeting, maybe they approve, they don't approve. In Dubai, everything happens in a very easy way. First of all these people, they're coming to Dubai sooner or later. They still, for vacations, for business or something. And you can basically, walk into the restaurant and 5 of them will be sitting in one table. You just come and start talking to them. And I don't know why, but people, when they're in Dubai, they're much more talkative, much more communicative than when they're back in Europe.
Sunny weather, great girls, no tax. It's it puts everybody in a good mood. In all seriousness as well, I think the thing with introductions over here is people are so open to introductions and open to talking, whereas again back in the UK, Europe, it's a lot more suspicious, and it's like excuse me, can you introduce me to Dmitry? Well, why? What's in it for me? What's my cut? What's my commission? Oh, I don't even know you. I just think Dimitri's an interesting guy. We could probably have a bit of a conversation. Well, I'll come to the first meeting with you, and then we'll talk about it. Whereas here it's just like it's the other way around. I don't even have to ask to meet you. Somebody's going, you know what? You and Dmitry, you'd be great together. Let me put you in a little WhatsApp group now, and it just happens with no obligation, no expectation, and.
There is one disadvantage in Dubai that's a little bit, I think, restrictive in terms of business development. Like in Russia, it's very common way, and I think in Europe is the same, that, you decided to open a coffee shop. So you go to the guy you don't know even him, just come to his coffee shop and said, listen, I want to open a coffee shop. Can you tell me how did you work, blah, blah, blah. And people in Russia right now are very open to share. And the main idea because of that is like, again, imagine you invented tomorrow some stuff that everyone needs, but nobody knows about it. You will spend a fortune to bring your target audience, on the marketing, etc., because nobody knows. But when you have, 100 people who are doing exactly the same, people already know this product. So your task is actually to come to make it better, to make it more efficient. More people will be around you because it's much easier. You can grab your clients from your competitors. So your task is just to make it better. You be best, and of course it allows you yourself to grow, because when you have competition, it's a potential way for you to grow personally in terms of business stuff, etc. In Dubai, it's very hard, coming to people and just, checking with them, like, how did you do your business? Tell me, some stuff. Share with me. Can you guide me? Can you mentor me on this kind of business? Now it's getting better. More and more people starting doing it, but before it was such a complication. Even I was running a business school, like it was a franchise from Russia, and some Russian students were coming to us, and during the education, they were supposed obviously to work in the groups and share their business ideas. They were coming to me like whispering on my ear, like, sorry, I don't want to share my idea because I think they will steal. I said, vice versa, you share because they can give you more ideas, they can give you more tips, they can give you more stuff to work it in a better way. It was a really hassle. And in Dubai, still it's there. It's better now, but it's still there.
Have you always been a good networker? Have you always been interested in networking?
Thanks to my father, I have a very diplomatic skills. I think it's one of my very strong skill. So I managed to find the communication ways with different people very easy. So yes, I think yes. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I have more than 14,000 contacts on my phone. LinkedIn, I think also something like about 15,000 or something, to be honest.
And what's your strategy? How do you grow a network? How do you build a relationship?
Of course, I do have a VIP list that I'm trying to be always in touch in terms of different ways. It's funny thing is, like, people, they still value when you send them like a very standard kind of personalized but standard wishes on their occasion. I can tell you honestly, I have few very high position royal families in my list. I cannot tell you that I can openly pick up the phone and say, listen, can I come and see you? Even I tried, but no. But all the time when I send them wishes with Eid Mubarak or something, most of them, they find time to reply to you. So this is the thing. I mean, the network is to keep people remembering about you, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I always try and talk to people when they're asking me for networking advice about doing whatever you can do to lengthen the relationship, but to put yourself in front of them in a way that you're giving value every time. Because the biggest mistake people always make, for me, is trying to force a transaction too soon in the game, and they think. For me, networking is to meet new people. Relationship building is taking that network you've built and making them longer. And at some point, when the time is right and it's mutually beneficial, a transaction will happen.
Yeah.
Or it won't. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But a relationship has been built, and other fruitful things will come from having good relationships. But the people who always get it wrong and then who don't like networking are the ones, because they walk into a room and it's like, oh, Dmitry, right, what can I sell you? Oh, you don't want to buy some life insurance now? Oh, well, fuck, Dmitry's a waste of time, And I guess it's like walking up to every hot girl in a bar. Do you want to fuck? No, you don't want to fuck. Oh, she's fucking useless. And then 2 years later, you wonder why you've never had sex.
Exactly.
So
no, this is 100% agree with you, and I think in networking the most important part is really not to expect anything from your connection, because if you have this connection, either sooner or later you'll get something out of it, or it's just going to be a good friendship or something.
Yeah, because if you're trying to get something or expecting to get something, then it isn't relationship building. It's just I guess disingenuous sales.
True.
So what are some interesting projects you're working on at the moment?
I'm a huge fan of Padel, as I told you.
Oh, yes.
And, for me personally, Padel is like, there is a basketball and street basketball. So for me, there is tennis and Padel. The thing is, tennis is very classical thing, it's like, it's Padel, I believe it's more like kind of, street game. And for me personally, when I started buying, uniform for Padel, I realized that it's very boring. Like, it's extremely boring. It's very classical, and I believe it should be something different. So now I want to build. At least it's based. I mean, I made some, of course, questionnaire for my friends who are playing with me, and I think more than 50 people replied to the questionnaire. And I realized that I want to build something like Balenciaga for Padel. But of course, it should be very convenient. It should be very efficient in terms of sweating stuff, etc. But design-wise, something like Balenciaga.
Expensive as well, then, that kind of a price point.
Yeah, I were expecting the T-shirt is about 200 or 200 dirhams starting right now.
200 dirhams, okay.
Yeah, and again, also if you look into the Padel, there is not too much brands that are really concentrating on Padel. For example, Head it's Padel and tennis still. Wilson is Padel and tennis. Yeah. So I want to create a brand that's going to be super concentrated on Padel itself.
And have you started anything with it yet?
I'm expecting the first shipment hopefully within this month. We already finished the first design. Already almost I think sold 50% of it. It's like MVP. So I'm just testing it. Of course, some of the friends they bought it because they're my friends. But the rest we're going to be testing on the sales on Instagram and all these things. So we'll see how it goes. If it goes, then we start the production locally.
And how are you selling? D2C or B2B as well?
B2B we're planning, but to be honest, I have few friends of mine who own paddle courts, like ZY Paddle. I'm a big one of ZY. I recommend it for you because first of all, it's 4 courts, but it's very high ceiling.
I've never heard of it. Which area?
Like everyone, Al-Quds.
Al-Quds.
And not far from Padel Art, if you know. Padel Edition is next door.
Yeah. If it wasn't for gyms and for paddle clubs, Al-Quds wouldn't exist.
100% true. Yeah, so what I was saying?
That you've done the MVP.
Yeah, so I spoke to the guys because I saw their people working in normal, I don't know, Adidas t-shirt with just their logo. I said, are you planning to do your own stuff, etc.? When they sent me the quotation that they received from the local companies, I don't even want to compete because obviously their margin probably, 5 to 10%. I cannot imagine how you can produce a t-shirt of high quality that you can play in it, you can enjoy it for like 65 dirhams. The reason why my t-shirt is expensive, it's not because I am greedy. It's really myself because even I'm doing it right now in Russia. Even a friend of mine owns the factory of production. He's doing the design for me, so I have a super discount and all the things. For me, it's self-costs are very expensive because of high-end materials, high-end design. Everything is super high-end.
Do you do much networking through Padel?
This is the thing. One time, my wife she asked me if why I'm not communicating, and I don't know. During Padel, no, to be honest. I meet a lot of people. We even have a group of now I think about 60 Russian-speaking entrepreneurs mostly who were playing Padel every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I would say I know only 10%. What 10% out of them know? I know what they're doing.
Really?
The rest I have no clue. Never asked.
You'll have to put me in your group. I'm not Russian speaking, but
we have a rule for that group that we can invite someone from outside if we don't have enough players. Then he comes. If everyone is happy with his level of game, then we add him to the group. So it's very complicated now.
I'll tell you where I do some networking, and it makes me think of Russian in the Banya. Banya Forest over on Blue Water. I like it for 2 or 3 reasons. I think it works good for networking. So one, when you're in your underwear in the sauna, it's another great leveler. That I don't know. It kind of brings out a smile and honesty. But also that place, the price seems to go up every week. So it's so fucking expensive there now that I know that if I'm sat in the sauna talking to someone, it's someone who's capable of paying $200 to go to go and use a sauna and an ice bath. So I've always met some interesting characters in there.
No, I had the birthday on the 11th of May, and my wife, she made me a present. I went to Dubai. It's another Russian banya, but it's on Nepal. It was amazing. I mean, I used to go there before, but it was a 3 hours amazing experience. Like, it was crazy.
There's nothing like the banya. I have a sauna and an ice bath in my house, and I use it most days. And even though technically I don't need to go anywhere else. There's just something special about that full experience and getting the Perino and the scrub and drinking the kvass. That's about my only Russian word, kvass and borscht.
How did you do a ice bath at home?
It's
because I'm thinking to do it as well, but I don't understand how to put it. So
the one I have is on my balcony.
Yeah.
And it's a permanent one, plugged into the electricity all the time. Keeping the temperature controlled. Like a sit down one, lie down one. It's good. It's got my name in the side and my logo and my little colours and stuff. Yeah. So I'll give you the contacts.
Because we also moved to the villa now, and I want to put it there.
Yeah, no, I couldn't live without my sauna and my ice bath. It's my kind of relaxation and happy space. But I don't do it. I know a lot of people like them in the morning. I'm not quite there in the morning, but if I do it at night time, sauna, ice bath, into bed, sleep like a baby.
True, very true.
Well, listen, Dmitry, it's been a pleasure having you here, buddy. Obviously, you've got your fingers in so many pies. How can the guys who've been listening to you and be interested to get in touch? How can they work with you? What kind of people are you looking to connect with?
I mean, I'm very open for any kind of collaborations and partnership. To be honest, even if people, Instagram is obviously managed by a team, but I'm still checking it all the time in terms of who is writing there, etc. So my contacts are available on Instagram. There is Linktree where you can, have direct contact with me. Most of the websites, they have my contact number, and I'm when people are texting me, I'm not hiding. If it's something like scamming thing, like when, I don't know, they're offering buy property, sell property and all this thing, yes, this pissing me off. One day I had 5 calls, I think, from Du. And I wasn't in the mood that day. Usually when people are calling me, I'm not like... I know people that are started, talking for 10 minutes, explaining why he's not allowed to call you, that it's a fine in Dubai, and he or she will complain about you, etc., etc. I'm not that kind of person. I say, okay, no, thank you, and bye-bye. I never swear at people. Yeah. But that day, they pissed me off so badly. Like, when the last lady called me, said, do you want something? I said, listen... Why you're calling me? Just delete my number. I don't want a DSLR. I have everything in my place. Stop just calling me. You're the fifth person from Du who is calling me today. So I'm pretty much open for any collaborations and partnership. Whoever wants to text me, feel free.
And in terms of people who need help setting up companies, setting up bank accounts, business advice, marketing connections, all of that kind of stuff.
Yes, we do a lot of interesting projects in crypto in terms of helping people to do it in a very legal way. We're not using any UAE entity for that, to be honest. We have another entity, but we have very interesting things that we can do with crypto for the clients. So if anyone is interested in a legal way, not a gray area, feel free also.
Awesome. We'll put everything in the show notes anyway. And thanks a lot for being here. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for inviting.
Looking forward to being invited to Padel.
Yes. And I think we also agreed that next time you're coming to my podcast as well.
Love to.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for tuning in to No Bollocks with Matt Haycox. Today's conversation was packed with actionable insights, and I'm super, super grateful that you joined us. Now, our community now boasts 160,000 downloads a month of this podcast, and that is a testament to entrepreneurs just like you who refuse to settle for mediocrity. So don't miss out. Subscribe now and gain exclusive access to the conversations that can transform your business and transform your life. Also, while you're at it, if you could visit www.matt-haycox.com or click the link in the show notes below, and please sign up to the No Bollocks newsletter. That's like the sister newsletter that lives with this podcast. Every week I send 2 emails, and in just 10 minutes you're going to gain more knowledge than most people doing a 3-year MBA. So please subscribe, rate, share this episode with someone who needs a No Bollocks boost. And until next time, keep hustling and keep winning.